Yo, what's up everyone? The Caustic God is back. In today's video, we're going to cover all of the recent changes to Caustic, and I'm going to show you how to master Caustic in Season 10. Now, I know a lot of new players are finding Apex for the first time and enjoying it, and I also know a lot of people are looking to try out Caustic and improve with him and his new buffs. So this video will teach you everything you need to know regarding Caustic and his recent changes. So let's get into the video. First things first, we gotta cover his changes. The gas damage did get buffed to a scaling model, so it starts at 5 damage for the initial tick and then increases by 1 damage every other tick. Now each tick is just 1 second. So it's gonna go 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, and the damage is uncapped. But obviously nobody's gonna stay in the caustic gas unless they are forced to. Now they also decreased the cooldown on his gas traps from 25 seconds down to 20 seconds, and the devs acknowledged in the patch notes that Caustic and his gas is either very OP or essentially irrelevant and useless, so they're hoping this damage buff is a true middle ground for him. And they also changed up his ultimate. I would describe this as a buff after digging a little further into it and playing Caustic for the majority of the day. They decreased the cooldown of his Nox grenade from 3.5 minutes to 3 minutes, and they decreased the duration of the ultimate from 20 seconds down to 15 seconds. And now I know some people were initially saying his ultimate will suck now because of the decrease in duration, but they buffed the damage and reduced the cooldown of it, so all in all I have to say it's definitely a buff. Alright guys, and now we're going to get into how to truly master Caustic in Season 10. If anybody is new here to the channel, I have around 20,000 kills with Caustic across 2 platforms, and I would say a lot of my following really enjoys when I play Caustic and when I make videos around him. So if you guys would do me a solid and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, that would be amazing. I want to reach 1K likes on this video, and I know it might be a stretch, but smashing the like button takes only a second of your time and it goes a long way for me in the video. Now the first thing to go over with Caustic is his passive. Caustic is fortified, which means he takes 15% less damage for having a larger hitbox, and he's also not slowed by bullets. Caustic and Gibby are the only one to have this little perk. Caustic's true passive is his Nox vision, which allows him to see through his gas better than anyone else, and most of the time it will highlight enemies that are in his Nox gas. This passive is kind of funky because it doesn't always work, and back in Season 7 when they made it easier for enemies to see in caustic gas, his passive is kind of turned into a joke. However, they'll probably never change his passive, so I guess we just got to accept it. Let's get into Caustic's tactical, the gas barrels. Caustic can have 6 of these placed at once, and that 20-second cooldown I mentioned in the beginning, that only kicks in after the 3rd trap is placed. So it will take some time to actually have all 6 of your traps out at once. And really good Caustics are always conscious of the cooldown on his traps. When it comes down to making them last, you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you really need his barrels and you're on cooldown. There's 2 ways to defuse a Caustic barrel, and one is shoot it anywhere while it is being inflated. This takes about 2.5 seconds to inflate. And the other way to destroy it is once it's been inflated, you have to shoot the bottom yellow part of the trap. The traps will be activated by enemies when they get close to the barrels, and their vision won't be great and they will get slowed down a little bit. Now finding enemies in your gas is the best time to pounce on them. You need to catch them while they are being hit with the gas, and this will give you a huge advantage to beam them and then eliminate them. If you are actively trying to place traps while enemies can shoot you, just be cautious that they can shoot you while it takes a second or so for you to throw the trap down. You will not have your weapon out, and a lot of the times if you're just focusing on gassing up a place in front of an opponent, they could get a lot of good shots on you. I never try to place traps in front of enemies while they have line of sight on me. My goal is to have traps placed before they have line of sight on me. And some may think this is an obvious thing, but I see it all the time from inexperienced Caustics. You can use the barrels as crowd control, which means you can block off entry and exit points in buildings, and you can use traps to buy time to heal. If I'm holding a building in a sweaty ranked game, I will be conscious of all of the possible ways enemies will try to attack the building. I'm always placing them in spots I think it's most likely for enemies to try to enter or exit. This is a great way to hold certain areas with Caustic. Now you should know Caustic will always perform better in enclosed areas, and he thrives in close combat. Be careful getting caught out in the open with Caustic because he obviously has no mobility, and that large hitbox he has is really tough to deal with at times. If anyone is new here and isn't already subscribed, I hope you will consider subscribing so you don't miss out on more Apex content. I'm going to go over a few more tips for Caustic and his tactical. If you have the traps placed in a location and you decide to move on from that area, it's probably wise to pick up your traps. There's no real need to leave them behind unless you want to use them to let you know if an opponent is potentially in that area or making that rotation. I will leave traps in potential rotation spots of enemies if it's like a ranked game so I can gather intel on where people potentially are. This is less useful now because of Bloodhound and Seer in the meta. Your traps will be displayed on your minimap if you need to check to see if your traps are still where you left them, and if you didn't get a hit marker from one of them being activated, you can probably assume someone shot out the trap. The gas is much stronger than the last season, so it will take some time for enemies to realize that it's nothing to really mess around it, so take advantage of them being naive. Obviously, the longer they stay in the gas, the more damage it will do, but I've already seen in the first day of playing that people are thinking they'll be fine pushing through my gas, and I've made them pay for it over and over again. Caustic is also pretty strong when it comes to reviving his teammates, so consider giving Caustic the gold backpack if you don't have a Gibby, Mirage, or Lifeline on your team. He really has the ability to pull off some crazy revives. Opponents aren't going to be super eager to push you a lot of the times if you have your gas available and it's set up. So with that said, let's move on to Caustic's ultimate, the Nox Grenade. Now, as I said, this will disappear sooner, but the cooldown on it has been reduced, so you should have more ultimates now throughout a game. And Nox Gas is a great ability to be offensive or defensive with. You can push teams inside a building and just gas them out and beam them, or you can be on the flip side, holding an area, and when opponents come into your spot, you can ulti them and push them out and either force them to fight you when you have that advantage, or maybe it will draw attention to them and they will get third-partied. I always recommend using the ultimate for up-close encounters, so you can really reap the rewards of your opponents being damaged and slowed by the gas. It's an easy way to squad wipe a team a lot of the times. Keep in mind, your teammates won't be able to see as well as you can in your gas, but they are no longer slowed down from friendly caustic gas. I'm always hyper aware of where my teammates are when I'm going to use my ultimate. I want to give my teammates the advantage, but I don't want to hinder my teammates by any means with it. So I'm always communicating with my teammates when I'm about to use my ultimate so that they're prepared for it and can work a preferred angle in the caustic gas or around it. So all in all, is Caustic better? Yes, absolutely. Is he as good as he was in Season 7 and half of Season 8? Absolutely not. But hey, listen, it was pretty unhealthy for the game for the gas to be that OP. It's unhealthy for the game when any ability is too overpowered for the game. I'm hoping this change to Caustic won't result in another nerf in a future season, because at the pace Respawn buffs and nerfs things, it could take forever for Caustic to be back to a viable selection. I rank Caustic A tier for Season 10, and I wouldn't really argue if someone said he could be an S tier. I will definitely be playing a lot of Caustic this season and this ranked split. Caustic always performs well on World's Edge because there's a good amount of buildings that are favorable to a Caustic playstyle. So if you're wondering who to have on your rank squad for this split, I definitely have to recommend Caustic. And lastly, guys, this is totally off topic from the Caustic video, but I want to give my viewers a little insight to what's been going on with me and playing Apex lately. Apex, ever since the Genesis update, has been running terribly for me and my PC. I've had constant stutters, crashes, just overall haven't been able to play the game as much. You've probably seen less uploads for me and less streams. And if you've been catching streams, you'll notice I crash almost every time I stream. There's something up with the game that is utilizing 100% of my CPU, and I've reached out to one of the lead software developers over at Respawn. They say they're looking into this bug, but there's no ETA on when it could be fixed. And I've done so many tests on my end from my PC, and I've played other games, and that leads me to believe it's an Apex problem. However, I don't see a ton of people talking about this, so I'm really at a loss here. I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure if I need to get a whole new setup, or if in a couple weeks or months, Apex is going to roll out a patch that fixes this. So if you guys really want to support me, consider becoming a member to the channel. It goes a long way in helping me be able to do this. You're able to get emojis, loyalty badges, priority reply to comments, and you get exclusive access to gameplay with me when my game actually functions. So consider becoming a member to the channel. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for me. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you on the next upload. Peace.